Hello, I'm Chris Williams from Read Comics They're Bad For You, the name of my YouTube channel. Or if you're watching this on BitChute, the name of my BitChute channel is Comic Freak. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars shocker, Game of Thrones duo quits planned trilogy. Yes, the original showrunners, D.B. Weiss and David Bernhoff, of HBO's Game of Thrones have decided to walk away from their planned Disney trilogy of Star Wars films and instead have gone over to Netflix, and we'll learn all about it in this article. The pair were set to produce the 2022 film, the first to come after this year's Rise of Skywalker. Game of Thrones creators David Bernhoff and D.B. Weiss have exited their planned Star Wars series over 18 months after Disney and Lucasfilm first announced they were joining. "We love Star Wars. When George Lucas built it, he built us too," Bernhoff and Weiss said in a statement. Getting to talk about Star Wars with him and the current Star Wars team was the thrill of a lifetime, and we will always be indebted to the saga that changed everything, but there are only so many hours in the day, and we felt we could not do justice to both Star Wars and our Netflix projects, so we are regretfully stepping away. Or it could be you're stepping away because you see Star Wars is now underperforming and your reputation is basically wrecked thanks to Game of Thrones with that final horrible season. And if you get any more mud on you, you will have no more future or hope to ever direct anything in Hollywood ever again. Now let's continue with this article. The pair were set to write and produce the December 16th, 2022 Star Wars film, the first to come after this year's Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, as well as the rest of the titles in a new series. The series was set to stand separately from one that the Last Jedi filmmaker Rian Johnson is working on, as well as the so-called Skywalker saga being helmed by J.J. Abrams. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy remarked, "David Bernhoff and Dan Weiss are incredible storytellers. We hope to include them in the journey forward when they are able to step away from their busy schedule to focus on Star Wars." In almost the great words of Dave Chappelle, "Not gonna happen, witch." You all know what I really meant, but I'm trying not to cuss. What can I say that isn't, retreading the fact that, D.B. Weiss and David Bernhoff obviously walked away from Disney because they didn't want to get involved with a dying franchise. I can't really do it. All I can say is that they obviously made the right choice. Because if things are going to go as bad as the way it looks like Star Wars is going, then at least D.B. Weiss and David Bernhoff get to walk away with some dignity. The news comes a month after The Hollywood Reporter exclusively broke that Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige was developing a Star Wars film, a movie that drew speculation that perhaps this could be a testing ground for the Marvel Cinematic Universe architect to have a bigger role in a galaxy far, far away in the future. Earlier this month, Feige's resume got even bigger when he was upped to Chief Executive Officer at Marvel, overseeing the creative direction of Marvel's storytelling and content creation across mediums including publishing, film, TV, and animation. Okay, maybe D.B. Weiss and David Bernhoff didn't walk away from Disney because they didn't want to get involved with a failing franchise. Maybe they just were afraid of Kevin Feige. Because arguably the MCU is even more powerful than, Game of Thrones at this point. And I wouldn't be surprised if they walked away because they were afraid of him. Meanwhile, Bernhoff and Weiss signed a 5-year, $250 million overall deal with Netflix in August that was met with envy and a bit of head-scratching, as their commitment to Star Wars would have meant that their new content from Netflix may have taken a decade to come to fruition. The duo have been in high demand since completing Game of Thrones, which swept the Emmy Awards this year with 12 wins, including Best Drama, but received a divided response from critics and fans because it was bad. And they obviously bought those 12 wins. Obviously, HBO forked over a bunch of money to the, committee or whoever oversees the Emmys to get those 12 awards for their, failing Game of Thrones show. Because I don't think they could have won any other way. Now let's get back to this article. Landing Beanoff in Weiss was considered a boon for Kennedy, who signed the creators to a trilogy back in February 2018 in the wake of a series of high-profile firings, including the June 2017 exit of Phil Lord and Chris Miller from Solo, a Star Wars story, and the September 2017 dismissal of Colin Trevorrow as director of Episode 9. The exit of Beanoff in Weiss comes as Star Wars is at a crossroads. Abrams' The Rise of Skywalker, December 20th, will close out the Skywalker saga. And Lucasfilm will pivot its focus to the small screen with a number of Disney Plus streaming shows, including Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian, November 12th, as well as other series in development, such as a Diego Luna-led Rogue One prequel, as well as an Obi-Wan Kenobi series starring Ewan McGregor. Beanoff in Weiss's expertise with the world building as evidence of Game of Thrones was presumed to be something Star Wars would need in the years to come as it charts its future. In April, Kennedy told The Hollywood Reporter she would soon be sitting down with Beanoff, Weiss, and Johnson to plot the franchise's future. Ain't gonna happen, Witch. We are looking at the next stage, Kennedy said, and we are not just looking at another trilogy. We're really looking at the next 10 years or more. And honestly, I don't think you're going to make it, Kathleen Kennedy, because I think Kevin Feige is coming for your job because Disney no longer trusts you to helm this franchise. Thank God. Even though I want Disney to die, because I think they're too big for Hollywood and I really don't want to see them buy up any more franchises and continue to basically destroy free creativity for new movies. But I know Hollywood hasn't had a new idea in decades, but I would really like to see, Hollywood not be ruled by the House of Mouse. Disney already bought 20th Century Fox, one of the 6 great film studios in Hollywood, now bringing the film studios down to 5. Meaning Hollywood is now a much more limited place than it was before, with less options for new screenplays to be made into movies, and less places for directors and actors to work. And honestly, I don't feel sorry for these people. Neither the actors nor the directors get much of my sympathy, because they're rich, or at least trying to be rich, and they're all such fake people. But even I can see that with Disney, basically being the new overlord of with its, not quite there yet monopoly, but once it reaches monopoly status, the government will have no choice but to bring it down. But I doubt D.B. Weiss and David Beanoff will really care about that because they probably see Disney as basically being on a precipice. They see the precipice being the, dwindling returns each of their franchises is going to have in the future because people are going to start tiring of MCU superhero movies soon, and Star Wars is already showing massive franchise fatigue, and they probably just want to sidestep that and not get involved. Because if I haven't said it before, I know I have, D.B. Weiss and David Beanoff have already lost massive amounts of street cred with the final season of Game of Thrones, and they have no choice but to steer away from any more controversy in hopes in the future that they will be hired to showrun both movies and television shows of great note and not be reduced to basically, have you seen the star of Ghostbusters 2016? Melissa McCarthy, who's basically been resigned to doing a superhero parody movie on Netflix, Thunder Force, in a very shabby isn't really the word, a horrible looking superhero costume. But after 2016, Melissa McCarthy can't expect anything better than this. And I'm sure D.B. Weiss and David Beanoff don't want to end up in the same predicament if they end up in a failing franchise like Star Wars. That's it for this review, so I'll go into my usual spiel. If you like this video, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is going around unsubscribing people, so make sure you're still subscribed. If you're watching my videos and you have not subscribed, please subscribe to me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Then go over to BitChute and subscribe to my BitChute channel, Comic Freak. Hit that bell for notifications, hit that like button, and leave some comments down below. And could you please share this video, share it on Twitter, and share it on Facebook? Share it anywhere you think it would do the most good, because YouTube is not going around promoting their YouTube creators anymore, and it would really help me if you could please share this video. Now it's plug-in time, so listen closely. Keep checking back in future videos for more information on my own upcoming independent comic book, Scum Dogs. I'm Chris Williams, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video or review.